Welcome to Rome in the year 1700, a city that called itself eternal yet lived every day surrounded by the ghosts of its own past. This was not the clean, unified capital of modern Italy, but a dense, chaotic, and deeply symbolic city where ancient ruins, Renaissance palaces, and medieval slums existed side by side. Rome at the dawn of the 18th century was the spiritual capital of Catholic Europe and the political heart of the Papal States, ruled not by kings but by the Pope, a man who wielded both religious and temporal power. Pilgrims arrived in endless waves, especially during Jubilee years, flooding the city with devotion, money, and desperation. As they entered through the ancient gates, they were greeted by towering fragments of the Roman Empire itself. The Colosseum, once a place of spectacle and blood, had become a sacred ruin, its arches filled with shrines and its stone quarried for churches and palaces across the city. The Roman Forum was no longer the center of an empire but a muddy field where cows grazed among broken columns, a place locals called the Campo Vaccino, the cow pasture. Yet above this decaying ancient world rose the triumphant Rome of the Baroque. Massive churches pierced the skyline, their domes and facades designed to overwhelm the senses and reaffirm the power of God. St. Peter's Basilica dominated everything, its vast interior glowing with gold, marble, and candlelight, while Bernini's colonnade wrapped the faithful in symbolic arms. Religion shaped every hour of life. Bells dictated time, processions filled the streets, and relics were displayed to crowds who believed miracles still walked among them. But behind this display of divine order lay a city of extreme inequality. The aristocracy lived in palazzi adorned with frescoes and fountains, hosting lavish banquets and musical performances, while just streets away, the poor crowded into dark, damp tenements where disease spread easily and clean water was scarce. Rome had no modern sewer system, and much of the Tiber River functioned as an open drain. Floods were frequent, and when the river rose, it carried filth directly into homes and marketplaces. At night, the city became dangerous. Street lighting was minimal and crime flourished in the shadows. Thieves, gamblers, and prostitutes filled the narrow alleys, while armed guards patrolled key areas to maintain papal authority. Public justice was swift and brutal. Executions were staged as spectacles in city squares, meant to reinforce moral order through fear. The Catholic Church not only ruled Rome's soul but its mind as well. Books were censored, ideas monitored, and the Roman Inquisition remained active, quietly investigating heresy and moral crimes. While Enlightenment thought was spreading through Paris and London, Rome stood cautious and defensive, preserving tradition over innovation. Yet paradoxically, this conservative city was also a magnet for artists, architects, and scholars from across Europe. Painters, sculptors, and musicians arrived to study the masterpieces of antiquity and the living Baroque, turning Rome into an open-air academy. The Grand Tour brought wealthy young Europeans to the city, eager to experience the ruins, the art, and the prestige of standing where emperors once ruled. Daily life unfolded at street level. Markets filled the piazzas with noise and color, vendors shouting over one another as carts rattled over uneven stones. Fountains were not decorative luxuries but essential infrastructure, gathering points where women collected water and news spread as quickly as disease. Food was simple for most Romans: bread, vegetables, olive oil, and the occasional meat, while feasts in noble households displayed excess and refinement. Despite the poverty, Rome was never silent. Church bells, sermons, street musicians, and the murmur of crowds created a constant hum. A city always in conversation with itself. The ancient and the living were inseparable here. Columns from pagan temples were embedded into Christian churches, statues of forgotten gods stood headless in courtyards, and every new building rose on the bones of something older. Rome in 1700 was not a city moving confidently toward the future, but one balancing carefully between memory and authority, faith and fear, glory and decay. It was a place where the past was never truly buried and where power depended on spectacle, tradition, and control rather than industry or innovation. Within its walls, the modern world had not yet arrived, but the pressure of change was building quietly beneath the surface. Before revolutions reshaped Europe and before Italy itself existed as a nation, Rome remained a world unto itself, eternal not because it resisted time, but because it absorbed it, layer by layer, stone by stone, carrying the weight of history into every step taken through its streets.